Squid Game surpassed Bridgerton as Netflix's most popular series ever globally. And in the series, debt-ridden people are offered the chance to join a secret contest to win a large sum of money. The catch? If they lose, they die. Well, you were probably too busy getting scared on behalf of the players to notice some things, but we got you covered. Here are some of the things you probably didn't know or notice about the series. After watching the series, fans noticed that hints to survive the deadly games were inside the bunker ever since they woke up in it in episode 1. In an interview with Netflix Korea, the art director of Squid Game also revealed the walls of the players' quarters, which were covered by hundreds of bed railings, featured several pictograms that illustrated the games to come. Okay, we sort of understand how they missed the clues. First of all, anyone in that position would never think to look for clues about the game in the dorm where they all slept. Secondly, in the beginning, the bunker's walls are blocked by 456 stacked beds where all the contestants sleep. But as the series progresses and more games are played, more contestants inevitably die, and the bunker beds of the fallen players are then taken out, slowly clearing the view of the walls. In the first wide shot of their sleeping place, there's a barely noticeable outline of the artwork hidden behind layers of beds. By the 4th episode, with a good chunk of the contestants already deceased, the games are indeed visible. Well, the players were probably more fixated on saving their lives than the walls. While watching the series, you probably noticed that the aesthetic of the coffins is childish, matching the theme of childhood games. But what you may not know is that the coffins have much deeper meaning. In an interview, Squid Game's art director, Jae-Kyung-sun, was asked what's the meaning of the gift-wrapped coffin. The art director said, "I think I focused on the mind of the person who came up with the game. I imagined he'd think he gave the contestants a chance as if he's a god. This is my gift to you. Even your bodies being disposed in the incinerator is a show of my mercy." Did you also notice that the boxes the players are put in after they die look exactly like the boss Ga-young's present from Gi-hun is wrapped in? Unless you were very keen, you probably didn't notice that more than one death was foreshadowed in the series. For instance, SAE-BYEOK'S heartbreaking death during episode 8 is similar to when she threatens to kill a man while trying to find a way to get her parents out of North Korea. In the end, Sang-woo ruthlessly stabs SAE-BYEOK in the neck right before the final game, and the fatal wound is in the same spot as where SAE-BYEOK holds the knife to the man in episode 2. You also probably didn't notice, but DEOK-SU's death during episode 7, aka the bridge game, is actually the second time we see him fall off a bridge. In episode 2, when the players go back to the real world, DEOK-SU escapes a bunch of people trying to kill him by jumping off a bridge and into the water. In episode 5, after the team wins tug of war, Min-yao says how she felt so powerful while leaning back, and this is eventually how she leaves the game. In episode 7, she holds on tight to DEOK-SU, leans back, and sends both of them to their deaths to get back at him. Jun-ho getting shot and falling into the ocean in episode 8 is also foreshadowed when he's trying to break into the game. In episode 3, Jun-ho kills the driver and throws him overboard, which mirrors Jun-ho's final minutes opposite his brother. In episode 9, Sang-woo killing himself in the rain on the Squid Game court is hinted at in episode 2. When Sang-woo is back home, we see him sitting in a tub, soaking wet, and he attempts suicide, which foreshadows his death in the end. In the opening scene of the series, Gi-hun accidentally bumps into SAE-BYEOK and is seen grabbing the coffee cup he knocked out of her hand, placing the straw back into it before handing it back to SAE-BYEOK. Apparently that tiny detail wasn't part of the script, and Gi-hun improvised that part for comic effect. In an interview, the actors and the director said if you look closely, SAE-BYEOK can be seen laughing, or at least trying to hold it in, while she's crouched over on the ground. If the doll from the red light, green light game in Squid Game did not creep you out already, the truth behind the doll's origins will terrify you even more. Fans found out that the doll actually belongs to a real-life village in South Korea, and yes, you can visit the doll. The scary, oversized doll from the first episode of the show is real and can actually be found in Jincheon County, a rural area around 3 hours north of Seoul. The county has a village and museum for horse carriages called Matcha Land. The doll currently stands tall near the entrance, and it was reportedly borrowed for filming Squid Game and then returned. In the final episode, it was revealed that Player 1 was actually the creator of the entire competition, but it turns out there were several hints along the way that he was the mastermind behind the whole thing and not just an innocent old man. When Jiho is looking through the list of players in the game, you'll notice the binder starts with Player 2. That was a huge clue to the massive finale plot twist, where we learn that Player 1 knew about everything. Something else about the old man. In the second episode, all players are allowed to cast a vote to either continue competing in the deadly games or have the competition end and be freed to go back to their homes. Viewers get to see their backstories except the one for Player 1. That should have been a major clue considering he was one of the main characters, but nobody even noticed that he didn't have a backstory. Also, throughout the red light green light game, the old man is the only person moving across the field, while others remain frozen in fear. He takes his steps almost exactly when the key phrase that allows movement is heard, indicating he knows when the words will be spoken. How did we all miss that? Jeez. Another clue, during the Honeycomb Candy Challenge, Player 456 asks Player 1 if he wants to swap shapes, but because Player 1 knew the game so well, he knew the umbrella would be harder than the star, and so rejected the offer to swap. Another clue we all should have noticed about the old man was that while a gunshot was heard following the confirmation of Yihun's win, the old man is not actually seen being shot or shown dead on the floor as other eliminated players were, and he was the only one smiling while competing in the fatal games. His surprisingly upbeat attitude in the face of the do-or-die situation may have been one of the biggest giveaways of his identity. But we all thought that he was just enjoying the last moments of his life because of his tumor. Something else fans should have noticed was that when the contestants began rioting after learning killing each other in the dorms was allowed, Player 1 realized he was in real danger and could not be protected. He knew that he was an easy target to be picked off, so he climbed to the top of the beds and pleaded directly to the cameras for the riots to stop. Despite multiple people getting murdered, it was only after Player 1 shared his fears and noted that no one would be left to actually play the games if the violence continued that the front man stepped in to call the riots off. You might not have known it, but Netflix announced plans for the series in September 2019, and it was originally called Round 6. The description, however, was the same. That is, Round 6 is a story of people who fail at life for various reasons, but suddenly receive a mysterious invitation to participate in a survival game to win $10 million. The game takes place at an unknown location, and the participants are locked up until there is a final winner. The story will incorporate popular children's games from the 1970s and 1980s of Korea, such as Squid Game, literal translation of its Korean name, which is a type of tag where offense and defense use a squid-shaped board drawn in the dirt. Contestants get involved in the game by calling the 8-digit number on mysterious business cards. What you may not have known is that the phone number is real and belongs to a man who said he received over 4,000 calls a day. The production team made the mistake of removing the first 3 digits of the number instead of the middle or last 4. For Korean phone numbers, if the last 8 digits are punched in without an area code, the call can still connect if the caller is in the area. Well, a South Korean presidential candidate actually offered to purchase the number from him. The games in the series are played by masked workers, soldiers in red jumpsuits. This iconic look will obviously be very popular at Halloween, but those costumes almost never existed. Director Hwang Dong-hyuk originally wanted to dress the workers like Boy Scouts, but that look didn't provide enough anonymity. Hwang said, "At first, I wanted a Boy Scout-like outfit, but it showed the men's figures too well. It didn't really make them look like ants in an ant colony. They needed to cover their entire body, and the best option to keep them anonymous was a jumpsuit, with a hoodie too, because they need to cover their faces." Apparently, the masks went through several redesigns that included animals and some other weird stuff, but we're just glad that they settled on that cool concept. Before we get to the last thing you probably missed while watching the series, here are other details that you probably missed. Before the final game, the last 3 players are given a steak dinner, which is reminiscent of when Ga-young tells her dad she had a steak before their birthday dinner. First of all, did you notice that Ali's tragic death after Sang-woo betrays him in episode 6 aka the marbles game, is foreshadowed back in episode 2. When Ali is home, he returns to his job and begs to be paid, and he ends up stealing the money he's owed and then runs away. So, Ali steals something valuable, only to have something super valuable, his winning marbles, stolen in episode 6. Of course, you couldn't have known it, but Ali, played by Anupam Tripathi, who has become one of the most beloved characters in Squid Game, was meant to be someone else. Originally, the role was intended for Filipino actor CARLO AQUINO, but at the time of filming, he was unable to enter Korea due to travel restrictions for COVID-19. BLACKPINK'S JENNIE received a shout-out for supporting the show during production. She sent a snack truck to set for her friend, Squid Game's actress Jung Ho-yeon, to share with the cast. In the VIP lounge, models are on display as living statues covered in body paint. And it may look so unreal, but the statues are real people. One YouTuber who was offered a statue role she declined revealed how much money she would have made. In addition to full accommodation, meals, and pickup services, the recruiter offered to pay her $4,243 for 3 days of work. Player number 240 references a line from a film starring Lee Byung-hun, who plays the frontman role in the series, and is one of South Korea's most famous actors, while talking to player number 067 about what they would do if they were to win the top prize. Suggesting SAE-BYEOK should go to the Maldives if she wins, player 240 said, "Haven't you seen the movie? The one with Lee Byung-hun?" and quotes a line from the film Inside Men, where Lee says, "Let's have a drink of Maldives in mojito." Did we miss anything else? Let us know in the comments section below, and remember to subscribe.